Dai, you family, and welcome to another Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways, family, all your ways, and that you're moving into living life very much, family, on your own terms, connected to your ancestors, moving in the vehicle of your own mental reality. Special shout out, of course, to our Patreon family. Thank you so much for enabling us to continue to do this show and for supporting us. Thanks to every single person that has also sent us love donations, very generous love donations through PayPal. We appreciate, love you so much. And I've been getting a lot of questions. We saw that the population has hit 8 billion, and a lot of you also saw that, you know, Billy Gates actually came to Kenya on the same day that it was announced that we have hit 8 billion people. And, you know, there's so much. A lot of you have asked me to comment about what I feel about this 8 billion people number, what's going on. And, you know, family, first of all, I keep saying this. Africa is not 1.3 billion people. That's what they tell us. But in my humble opinion, I think we're closer to 3B. I think somewhere like Nigeria is probably, you know, close to a B on its own. I think West Africa would be like 1 billion people. East Africa would be almost like 1 billion people. But they play with these numbers to try and play with the collective consciousness. And it's all about, you know, the way they even make the continent smaller. The motherland is smaller. It's upside down. And so we can't trust their numbers for them to tell us this. But the thing that's making a lot of the Babylonian leadership uneasy is because there's a population explosion happening on the motherland. And they keep saying, you know, 75% of Africa's population is now officially below the age of 18. And you can see why it's all about the children. Why everything they're doing has been to ensure that these children don't claim their rightful destiny, because they may be able to oppress us. They may be able to stifle us, but they can't stop that. But, you know, for me, family, I just feel like with all their population control, depopulation agenda, all of that, none of it is relevant anymore, because we have to realize that we are a reincarnating people. The only reason you would fear a depopulation agenda is if you don't know you reincarnate. You'd actually laugh. Once you realize you're a reincarnating people, you'd actually laugh, because we're spiritual beings having this human experience. And what is happening now is like every time they quote unquote kill an African, they're literally kicking a soul out, and the soul can't return anywhere. The soul can't go anywhere. It has to be recycled black. Literally recycled black, but recycled back into the system until it completes its assignment. Because this body does not define my life here. It's my spiritual assignment. It's me spiritually here. This is just a vehicle. This is like my Ferrari, you know, that I'm moving around in. And it's like I don't know if they don't get this concept or if they've misunderstood how this world works. Because now our people, so many people have been blocked from going home. And please, I've done a show which is talking about how we're here to pull our ancestors from the pits of hell. Make sure you watch that. You can catch it early on Patreon, of course, but make sure you watch that because it's kind of related to this show. But literally, we're stuck in this cycle of perpetual return. And it's not about the body. They're trying to make the body transhuman. They're trying to do all these things to try and entrap the soul. But they can't control the population, and their numbers are dwindling. And after many of them took the double Big Mac, a lot of them are checking out of the system. The world is also getting hotter, family. Like, so many things are happening. They can't control the population because they can't control the spiritual beings. And the more they try and take us out, the more we'll return. It's crazy. That's what's happening. So the more they take us out, the more we're ensured of being the most dominant, you know, peoples on the planet. We're ensured of that, family. Because you take out one person, they have to return as two. One, to complete the mission you didn't allow them to complete, and then secondly, to start a new mission. So it's like everyone they kill multiplies, family. It's so insane. I actually don't understand how they don't get this concept. that you can't kill an African. They'll just multiply. You can't take us out like that. And I think the dangerous thing in this, if you want to say dangerous, is that if you are connected to their system, like if you go out in their system, what they're trying to do is literally entrap your soul forever by creating this kind of like transhuman, where you now power their robots. Because, you know, what they've tried to do is to transform Mama Earth into a prison planet. And what that means is that they just harvest the energy of the humans and they use that to feed on because their universe is broken, that they have nowhere else to feed, basically. These are now the beings that control us on a higher dimension. And so they've had this thousand of year plan of trying to colonize us. And their ultimate goal was to make this a prison planet where we would feed them forever. So they thought that if they break the death and life cycle and like disconnect us from, so, you know, because what used to happen is like you'd be born, you had an assignment. Maybe it was to learn something, to plant something, to experience something, to assist Mama Nature with building something. There were many different kinds of assignments, as many assignments as there are people, literally. And you'd have this assignment, and then once you were done with your assignment, you know, there were many other things that would also come into your physical experience where you'd interact with different people. You would now return to the ancestral realm, and many things would happen there. You know, your heart would be tested and weighed against the ma'at to see whether you had carried any kind of heaviness from this world, and if you were found to have spiritual debt, you'd come back. So they cut that line where we would return to the cosmic family. So when we died, literally, many would meet Jesus and they'd go right back. They'd see a light at the end of the tunnel, which is literally like their soul harvesting, you know, recycling thing. Check out this guy. I think he's called Raw Report. He's done a lot on, what does he call it? I always forget. I think it's soul stealing or soul harvesting. I think that's what he calls it. And he actually has a whole course on that, which is really brilliant. I haven't taken the course personally, but just from the nuggets he shares, if you really want to kind of open your mind and get that information, it's a great key and code for you. So they blocked that, and now they ensured that we would forever be in this cycle where they would harvest our energy forever, literally. And they were now planning on, because of this biological system, where they just released this report that says that we are connected to like 14 generations of our ancestors. They found it very difficult to control the sun people, the Bantu, the people of the sky, the melanated, whoever you want to call us. They found it very difficult because we were connected not only to 14 generations, but if we awakened and reached a certain level of awareness, we'd enter the Akashic records and we'd mess up their plan, because we'd now start bringing different information. And because we're all connected, like telepathically, we have this group consciousness, we could shift things. So that is why they came up with the, double Big Mac. It was, if you eat that, you forever block yourself in. It's like, it was like the sleeping pill that Sleeping Beauty was given, or whatever happened to Sleeping Beauty. It was that thing of where they would put you to sleep forever and literally entrap your soul in this human, robotic kind of being and make that the future beings that were being born. That's why they're promoting, we know now can grow a child in a womb that is not attached to a woman, and all these things. It's all about creating this vehicle that is not connected to the cosmic realm that will make it easier for them to control. And so they thought if they depopulate us, and then now, so they started to control our numbers, killing us through genocides, etc., etc. But what they didn't anticipate is that we would come back exponentially. So you take one person out, they come back as 2. You take the 2 out, they come back as 4. You take the 4 out, they come back as 8. You take the 8 out, they come back as 16. Like, they never anticipated that. Because this eugenics genocidal agenda has been going on for decades, if not hundreds of years. And all it has done is explode the number of Africans, the number of black people, the number of melanated people that are now here. So they can't get rid of us in that sense. The only thing is they can cap you and try and enslave your soul, which will make it harder, which will now disconnect you from our group consciousness, which will disconnect you from the cosmic and ancestral realm for a season. Because the soul will always go back to where it belongs. But they've invested so much to disconnect you, thinking that, for them, it's also an experiment, thinking that if they entrap you, you'll now be in this prison planet and they'll have you forever. And that is hell. That is literally their hell, family, that they are trying to create. But as long as our people remain online with the ancestral realm, which many on the motherland are, it's literally impossible to finish us off. I met a scientist when I was working for the World Health Organization, a brilliant man from Ethiopia. And he was talking to me about how, in the research that him and some other Ethiopian scholars had done, they really questioned some of these droughts and famines that had happened in Ethiopia, I think in the 80s and early 90s. And they questioned how it had happened like that. And they really felt there was a foreign hand. And he said that he felt that, the genocidal agenda had begun all the way back then. Because how is it that Africa, after being in perpetual paradise for so long, all of a sudden we're having famine and our people can't produce food and they're dying in large numbers? But you see now, those same Ethiopians who were taken out by famine, by drought, have come back and multiplied. And Ethiopia is now one of the biggest nations in East Africa. The same can be said of Somalia. So much was done because they're also a very rebellious people, a very proud people. And so much was done to subject them. And I told you guys, they have like the biggest uranium deposits and biggest oil deposits and all kinds of things, which is why they've been kept in perpetual war and like lawlessness for 23 years because they will not bow. And now, so much was done where there were famines in Somalia and all this stuff was happening. And now Somalia is one of the nations that is coming back full force, becoming a force to be reckoned with across East Africa and across the world. Both Ethiopians and Somalians have very strong communities across Babylon. So we don't die, we multiply. I told you death is an illusion, but what you have to do, family, is don't get caught up in their agenda and create this prison plan for yourself and have now to put your ancestors there where they have to now come and rescue you. It's going to get harder to rescue you. And it will take longer. So we are in a great rescue season. So what you need to do is stay out of Babylon's agenda. And I've given so much information about how to do that. Don't take the double Big Mac. Don't eat that crap. If you could only just see how many emails I get about how many people regret eating that. How sick they've gotten, how all these nasty and terrible things have happened to them. Even just do the research. See what's happening with that. Grow your own food. Get out of the cities. Make sure you have access to water. Make sure you just have everything for your survival to ride this out. Because a great judgment is coming to the world. Babylon is gone, family. This is the final kicks of a dying horse. But they're going to try everything. They say the dragon is most dangerous when they're dying. They're going to try absolutely everything to entrap as many people mentally. Remember, it's all about trying to get your soul. That's what they need. They need your soul. And so they will subject the world to total wretchedness. Famine, drought, disease. They've been trying to do that, but there's a lot that's been blocking it because too many people are connecting to the ancestral realm. And that brings me to the next point. If you want to keep yourself safe, connect to your ancestors. Because they are the only ones who are operating in a higher realm, or at least the same realm, as the people who are directing the so-called Billy Gates of these world. The so-called Illuminati, the so-called Jesuit priesthood, the black, all of that. They're the ones. So it's only your ancestors who are on that level who can now be giving you information of what's happening, especially when they take the world offline, which they're threatening to do. That's one of the threats because too many people are awakening. Like the group consciousness of the awakened is mashing up too many of their plans. And yet they need the everyone online so that they can implement their plans, but it's working against them. So they may try and take everyone offline. No one knows what's coming. And maybe I'll do a separate show on that. Connect to your ancestors. That's the number one thing. Connect to your ancestors. Work on yourself spiritually. If you want to survive what Babylon's going to do. Because they are going to try and trauma. This is like their final trauma. If you've ever dealt with a narcissist, and if you don't know what a narcissist is, please Google it. The abusive psychopaths who incarnated as our mothers, our fathers, our siblings, everything, who have been literally the greatest obstacles and the greatest teachers. So let me just put that there. And you'll know, like, when you're leaving a toxic person, they'll do everything in that minute to make sure you don't leave, or if you leave, you're miserable forever. So you need to protect your heart and your soul right now, family, because the change has already occurred. The new earth is here. I'd actually promised to do a show on what does it feel like to be in the new earth, or signs that you're in the new earth. I will definitely do that. You just have to stay alive and stay out of Babylon's destruction by any means necessary. And I'm telling you, if you're connected to your ancestors, it makes the whole process a lot easier. It puts you in the realm of the miraculous, where you may not have money, but when you need it, it will be there. Where you may not have any way to feed yourself, or all these things that I always tell you guys, prepare, prep, etc., etc. But when those times come, you will be prepared. You will receive that manna from heaven. It's the manna from your ancestors. And so, all these agendas, family, they've kind of lost their hold because the ancestors are awake, the ancient ones are back. We've reconnected with that ancestral realm. And what that means is that those who are connected to the ancestors and Mama Earth will be saved. It's already saved. It's already happened. We've already won. The ones in danger now are the ones who are not connected to any kind of spiritual realm. You're not connected to any kind of ancestor that can protect you. Because the spiritual realms that many of you are connected to, the Jesuses and the gods, are false spiritual realms that cannot protect you. Those who are exposed, we're already in the ark. We're already in the ark like this, being held by Mama Earth like this, family. Being held by, the great mother like this. Because we've had that mental salvation, that soul salvation. No one can help you. Not the female Messiah who is here. Not the male Messiah who is here. Not the ancient ones who are here. Not the reincarnated Buddhas and, all these great teachers and healers who are here. You need to connect to a spiritual realm so that you say it's 10 steps ahead of those who are planning what is happening here physically from that realm. And don't worry about all these stories and numbers. They're all bait to see which one catches. The population is a problem for them because they obviously don't understand, overstand, and understand reincarnation. And whether you believe in reincarnation or not, if you are from a chosen bloodline, when you die, you come back. Until your assignment is done, and then you can keep it moving. And I did a show where I was talking about how so many of our souls are stuck in perpetual return. But what they didn't know is they've entrapped our souls, but our souls keep multiplying. And soon will explode. And we're not 1.3 billion. But those are stories for other days. Definitely consider supporting the channel, family, so we can continue to bring you the awakening news. Just also energetically support us, family, either financially, either by subscribing to the channel, etc., etc. Because, we're already in the new earth, but we really have to kind of come down to communicate on their frequency and through these systems, and it does expose us to their radiation. That's how their frequency feels. It feels like radiation. It's so toxic. So if we create that bridge, it will make it easier for us to weave together our group consciousness. And if you get it, you get it. and that means you're ready. And I will be telling you what next step we're taking, because the Dr. Mumbi show is taking it to the next level, family. I think enough of us are awake to really start to do some things. I have your contacts for those of you who have wanted to join the Unity communities, and I've received the download from the Most High Creator about what we need to be doing from 2023. I'll be getting into that in a future episode. Tuko pamoja.